Ladies and gentlemen, I'm BurningDogFace, and it is my honor to welcome you to Let's Play Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones. Unfortunately, this program crashes if I pick a profile while Fraps is recording, so forgive me this jump cut. That's better. This game came out in 2005, and it is the third and intended final chapter of the Sands of Time trilogy. I started this year with the Sands of Time, and I played Warrior Within back in the summer, so I find it only appropriate to end this year with The Two Thrones. I don't really know much about the story of this game. Mostly that it takes place immediately after the events of Warrior Within, and it considers the best ending of that game to be canon, not the standard ending. So it's a good thing I got all those health upgrades. I did jump into the very first area in order to test the frame rate and audio levels. Oops. Let's bring that up so that it doesn't try that again, hopefully. Yeah. I jumped into the very first area to test a few things, make sure that the LP would work. But other than that, this is going to be a blind LP. I'm going to play the game for the first time, and you guys get to come along for the ride. Here's hoping we both have a good time. Before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to Metal Ratul, the Steam user, who informed me that the Sands of Time trilogy on PC is compatible with an Xbox 360 controller, despite its age, so I didn't have to play Warrior Within and The Two Thrones with mouse and keyboard controls, the way I did with the Sands of Time. Much appreciated. Also like to give a shout out to my friend Ronan Drake, who he dug up the manual for his old original Xbox copy of The Two Thrones so they could make sure all the controls are properly calibrated. Thanks, man. I owe you one. Now, without further ado, let's play Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones.
We all make mistakes. Some are small, some are large. But his mistake, born of innocence, fueled by pride, was the greatest and most terrible of them all. Some believed when the prince journeyed to the island of time to escape death that he returned alone. The amulet destroyed, the Dahaka appeased, the Empress dead. The prince was free at last, but this is not how it happened. The truth is that he chose to save me from my destiny. In doing so, he set me free, and doomed us all. Prince, of all the possible futures, this one held the most promise, but something has changed.
Do not worry, Kaileena. No harm will come to you in Babylon. I promise. Look, we are nearly home. No.
As our ship lay sinking in the harbor, the prince found himself in a city quite different from the one he left behind. The normally busy wharves were now decimated. Blood-spattered awnings and splintered door frames were all that waited to greet him. And the people, merchants, beggars, fishermen, were nowhere to be found. Others had taken their place.
Let her go!
Well, it's a shitty way to welcome His Majesty back home. You know, after I jumped in here and made sure the audio levels are okay, although they now sound a bit loud to me. Suspicious. I said to Drake that it was stupid that the Prince and Kaileena had different outfits, even though they'd been stuck on that boat all this time. You know, did they stop in at H&M on the way back to Babylon? And he points out to me, she's the Empress of Time. Do you really think she doesn't have more clothes on that island? So, you know, fair point. Alright. Let's get started. Oh yeah, unlike Warrior Within, which just said button 1, button 2, this game is just old enough that it actually registers a Xbox 360 controller, so all the buttons have the right name.
The prince made his way along the torn and blasted district, haunted by visions from his past. The dockside tavern where he'd spent many late nights was now reduced to cinders. Babylon's proud armada, which he would often come to greet, lay cracked and broken, cast to the bottom of the Euphrates.
You see that? That's a lie. I'm clicking right analog stick right now and nothing is happening. So here's the weird thing. It's old enough, it's young enough to recognize an Xbox 360 controller, I should say. But it does it imperfectly. So unlike Warrior Within, which registered the Xbox 360 controller as, you know, here is a joystick, and I had to manually calibrate the buttons, this one has some issues. So, you know, on the plus side, almost all of the controls were already set when I got here. But on the downside, nothing is set to the stick buttons, and I can't, what's the term? The term is mapping. I knew it was an M thing. You can't map any of the analog controls. So the triggers and the buttons on the sticks. And that wouldn't be a problem because, you know, most of the controls are already set, except that one of those controls is, you know, reset camera, which centers the camera behind you. And that by default, the controls on the triggers are supposed to be the ones that are on the bumpers. And since I can't set anything to the triggers, I'm just going to have to get used to switching that. Using right bumper to run along the wall, and I can't actually demonstrate that here at this moment. Don't worry, that looks like a spot to do it. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, right shoulder instead of right trigger. Hey, either of you, little help? I didn't think so. Which is a bummer, because left, right bumper, and right... sorry, the buttons that were on the left and right triggers are two of the most important commands in the game. You know, right trigger was basically all of the platforming stuff, except for jumping. And, left trigger was your time control. Ow, hot, hot, hot! Oh, and since it is kind of an important thing, and, you know, it can be useful in combat, I did map reset camera to the back button. Or I thought I did. Give me a second. Okay, that time it worked. Yeah. Sorry about that. Back was already mapped to navigation map, which incidentally doesn't seem to do anything in this area. But fuck it. I figure if when I need to use that, I can reach forward and press tab on the keyboard.
Everywhere there are signs of battle. But what of Babylon's guard? Where have they all gone?
Excellent questions. I do like this outfit a lot more than the one from Warrior Within. What is this? Sort of an ugly brown. Move towards rail to auto climb. I feel like they could have worded that better. Oh, and yeah, just in case you're following along, move left analog stick towards column and press A to jump. Oh no, don't jump there. That would be death. Oh! What? Noted.
Should I continue from here when you return?
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Good. This is a fine place to start the tale next time.
It isn't the prince telling the story this time, as you probably noticed, but that carries forward to the start menu.
Tell me when you want to hear more.
Wonder if she's going to say, wait, that's not how it happened when you die. How come none of these guys have weapons I can take? This is weird. It used to be that the landscape camera worked everywhere, that there was an alternate angle for literally every spot in the game. Now I guess it only happens in certain places. Yeah, Babylon's in a bad way, man. Just take that arrow and stab someone in the eye with it. Works for fucking Orlando Bloom.
Why is it that every time disaster strikes, I find myself without a proper blade? Still, it's better than nothing.
It was X both times, incidentally. There's a man down there. I'm going to stab him. I do like that this one is, it's just a regular-ass knife. What is this, anyway? Is that like a kitchen knife? This is new. Oh, there's a guy running around right beneath me. Oh, there is. Fucking A. Up I go up. I was about to try going down, which probably would have resulted in my death. Oh, there's a comment for you. If you've been paying close attention, you probably already noticed, but they brought back Yuri Lowenthal as the voice of the prince. He voiced the guy in, The Sands of Time, but in Warrior Within, they replaced him with Robin Atkin Downes. Some things never change. So Persia has been invaded by some kind of horned barbarians. Can I? Ah, yes I can. Oh, how did I do that? I don't actually attack those things, you idiot. I'm trying to figure out the combos. Alright, there it is, there it is. You do that crazy thing by, secondary weapon first. Whoa! Just as acrobatic as I remembered. There's a guy in there. I know there is. Unless he's just standing there, and I'm being an idiot. Oh. So, a serious question. This is a sword-ass sword. It was designed to murder people. This is like a steak knife or something. How is it that I can hit stuff an infinity number of times with this, and it never breaks, but the sword will break? I mean, I think that's a durability bar up in the corner. Ah, yes. Wait. Actually, I did that on purpose. Yes! Yes, I remember that. You can only save at fountains, but anywhere you can drink water, you can regenerate your health. I remembered that time. So far, every time I've done that except that one, I've clicked the right stick before remembering that that doesn't work anymore. How the hell is this getting me any closer to Kaileena? He really should have just jumped down there and followed those guys. Ah, Oh, I guess that worked after all.
No! No way into the city now. I will have to climb this siege tower and enter from above.
Well, hey, it worked for them. Sort of interrupt the prince. I do try not to do that. Oh, yeah. Again, you know, hitting back to center the camera is nowhere near as easy, or nowhere near as natural, I will say, as clicking the stick, because I have to lean over from the... Oh, wait. This is part of the, Oh, yeah! That move! Fuck. That was YY, by the way. That's what they wanted me to do there. Well, it's B to pick up, not Y. He's gonna smell good in a bit. Is that? No, that's a helmet. And I've seen people murder people with helmets in movies and stuff, but I'm only allowed to pick up what the game wants me to pick up. Quiet you. I do like the, where is it? Oh, I thought it was a scorpion tattooed on his arm there, but maybe not. Either way, I like the art, I like the wrappings that are longer on one side than the other. It's a good look for him. And as we determined from the first game, he looks better in white than in brown. Just trying to think of something clever and or relevant to say, since I've been mostly nattering about controls and out-of-universe stuff for this first video. Oh well, I'm sure I'll find plenty to talk about in this series. I always did before. I'm BurningDogFace, and this has been the first episode of Let's Play Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones. I'll see you next time when we continue making our way into Babylon in order to find out what horrible army is besieging Persia, how we can save Kaileena, and what we can do to bring peace to the prince's homeland. Later!